Hey, super friends, my name is Neil. Happy New Year and welcome to a brand new episode of the Get Your Comic On podcast. We took a little extended and very much unplanned break through most of 2024, but we're back with a brand new look, brand new sound, and we're excited to dive into brand new episodes with you starting right now. Most excitingly, I am no longer hosting this podcast alone. Joining me today, I have not one, but two co-hosts. First up, you know him from blockbuster interviews for Rebel Moon, War of the Rohirrim, and most recently Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Please welcome James. James, how you doing?
Hello, I'm doing all right. Yep, all good, thank you.
Then, making his Geico Pod debut, you may know him from his incredible reviews for Image Comics The Tin Can Society and his super fun Simpsons rankings that we did back in October. He's also been instrumental in helping me to get this podcast back from the grave for this go around. So please welcome Aaron. How's it going, buddy?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. They're not that good. They're not that good.
Yeah, you're going to get quoted on the back of a book this year. It's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm
And
determined for that to happen.
and you are also responsible for that very cool new theme tune that everyone just heard playing before the podcast started. Our first original piece of music commissioned for the website and for the podcast. How awesome is that? Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
I still can't. That was a amazing happenstance of circumstance that you were like, oh, here you go. I can make some music.
I just want to preface for anyone listening, I'm not a professional musician. I just piss about in GarageBand. That's all it is. That's all. That's all it is.
It worked perfectly. So, we're very, very happy for it. So
Yeah.
we are going to be changing things up from now on. We are going to have different members of the team who are going to be jumping on to co-host with me so that you are not listening or watching me sitting here all by myself. Um, and if you're really, really lucky, you might even get to hear Boy Wonder jumping on, possibly sooner than you think, actually, taking some time away from his PhD to actually come back to the podcast.
Hmm.
This episode, we are easing into 2025 with a look ahead to all of the films and series, books, games, everything that we are looking forward to, from Superman to Avatar, from Peacemaker to New Doctor Who, which I suddenly realized may not have been on my list when it should have been, and beyond. We're going to have a few other members of Team Geico joining in as well, just to give us some of their picks for this year. And we're also going to be hearing from you at home who joined in the chat on social media. So I guess we just dive in. What movies are we looking forward to this year? Let's go. Aaron, I'm going to put you in the hot seat.
Oh
What is your
God.
most anticipated movie in 2025? Go.
Is this because I'm the resident film guy? Oh God, where do I start? I realized the other day that there's more films than I've realized coming out this year that I'm looking forward to.
That's one
Um,
thing that I have realized through trying to think about and distill down onto paper what are the things I'm excited for this year, because it actually turns out there's a lot, like a
mm,
lot that I'm looking forward to.
yeah, it's like when I came up with my little list of films that I was excited for, I was like, oh, hang on, what about that? Oh, what about this? Oh, what about that? And I was like, oh God, there's like 50 I didn't mention. Yeah, I'm just going to list a few off that I can think of off the top of my head. I think the number one film I'm excited for this year, after it being pushed back quite a few times, is Mickey 17, Bong Joon-ho's
Mm.
newest
Yeah.
film. Um, he's one of my favorite directors ever, and I think a lot of people will agree with me that we've kind of been clamoring for something since Parasite won Best Picture, and
Yeah.
this film feels like it's been pushed back 3 or 4 times
It's been
now.
pushed back a few times now. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just excited to finally see it because it looks like he's returning to that sort of thing he did in The Host and Snowpiercer, and
Yeah.
just kind of mashing them together. Like it's half comedy, it's half sci-fi. There's a bit of everything in it. Plus, I like Robert Pattinson, who
Yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a great
yeah,
cast.
yeah. The cast is when I actually read the full cast list, I was like, oh damn, there's like I can't think of a single person who's not in the film. um, a couple of others that come to the top of my mind just while we're here. We'll mention a few others while we go along as well. But Mission Impossible, the last one, Final Reckoning, is another one that I'm really excited for. And Wake Up Dead Man, I think that's the name of the new Knives Out film we're getting this year.
I totally
Um,
forgot a new Knives Out this year.
yeah, that one kept slipping my mind. And then I was like, oh, hang on a minute. Because I kept forgetting the name because I'm just so used to calling it
Yeah.
Knives Out.
Yeah.
I always forget the subtitles for them, and I completely forgot we were getting that this year because 2024 felt like it was never going to end, and it just felt like it was coming the next year. So I've still
That-
not.
Is it doing the same as the last one did and doing a small, like a short theatrical run and then Netflix? Or is it straight to net? What do we know how they release it?
It's a Netflix original again, because I know Daniel Craig has been rather vocal in recent interviews for Queer that he's a bit annoyed with how Netflix distributed Glass Onion, and that they're probably going to do the same again for this.
Okay.
But I think both him and Ryan Johnson, plus a lot of the cast as well, are trying to push for more of a theatrical run, because Glass Onion, I don't even. I know it got a theatrical release, but it was a blink and you'll miss it thing, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, it was on Netflix.
Oh, of course, most of them have played at London Film Festival, which is how where I saw both of them on the big screen. Actually, was at the festival.
Yeah, I would not be. If it's not part of the festival lineup this year, I would be very surprised. Even if it kind of sneaks its way into Toronto,
Yeah.
which I think is in like August or September. I wouldn't be surprised if it sneaks its way into there, because I don't actually know. I think they've finished filming. I just think they're in post production now.
Good pick. I hadn't thought of that. Mickey
Yeah.
17 was on. Basically, if we had like unlimited time where this podcast could run for days, that would be on my sort of honorable mentions list.
Yeah,
James? Most anticipated film of the year?
I was just having a quick look through a list because, again, I think with Aaron, I didn't realize how much was actually coming out this year.
It does. It gets you.
I was like, oh, it's just these guys, and then suddenly I started looking through a list, and I was like,
Well,
oh,
I think I feel like I know what you would pick. I feel like I know you well enough that I should know what you're going to pick.
I'm definitely going for Avatar.
There we go. Okay, so I'm right.
Yeah.
I presume that was going to be it. It's Avatar.
Yeah, it's gonna be the number one. Yeah, 100. But what's really annoying about that is such at the end of
Yeah.
20. It's
That's December, isn't it?
2026. So I think like a close second would maybe be the How to Train Your Dragon live action. I didn't be on there only because like live action adaptations have a very like I guess controversial history. But I'm just so intrigued to see how it all looks. It's more of a I'm interested to see how it looks rather than plays out.
Yeah.
I guess in a way, because am I going to be mad that if it's like a copy and paste situation? Not really, but I just want to see how it's all envisioned and brought to life. So I'd say that would be like a close second. But
So I've held my hands up. I have never.
I already know what you're going to say.
I've
I'm
never
so
seen
disappointed in you.
any of the How to Train Your Dragon films.
Neither have I.
Oh no way! Okay, so I think I have seen like snippets of some of them.
Wow, I really they're really good. The
I-
first one is great.
So I
I-
think I'm just too old. If that makes sense.
I have a legitimate reason for not watching them, because take into account, even at this time, we were all like slightly out of that age range to have like grown up with them. But like at college, there was a friend of mine who was obsessed with them to the point where he would not shut up about them, and he banged on about them so much that I'm like, yeah, you've actually put me off of wanting to watch them now. I really wanted to see the second one, but now I've
Okay,
just
so
I don't
the
fancy
first one,
it.
the first one was 2010.
Yeah.
So I would have been 25.
I would have been out
Yeah.
Oh god.
14. I would have been like 13 or something.
Wait, no, that's not right. I would have been. How old was I? I don't know.
I think I was bang
Older
on
than I would have been to
13.
go and see this at the cinema, unless I found unless I was really interested in it.
They're so good. They're really and again, like just from a visual perspective, it does look very faithful.
It
But
has
yeah,
such a massive fan base as well. Like
yeah.
our coverage of the trailer is some of the like top rated stuff from, was it December when the trailer came out? Like that post was huge on the website. It's got such a rabid audience.
But
Interesting.
Avatar for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Avatar
Okay.
is
So
definitely-
clue me in, because you know I'm a complete luddite when it comes to Avatar.
Yeah.
I have seen both of them, and one of them I saw sat next to you, and I just watched your face, which was like all the way through it, because you were just loving every second. What this one's called, like Fire.
Fire and Ash, I think. it's
Yeah,
called.
Fire and
I was
Ash.
going to say Fire and Ice.
Follow a so you've got the so the second one introduces the Mekina, I think it is, which is the coral reef tribe.
Yeah.
And then this one will introduce a tribe that is more native to kind of like volcanic areas, which, because it's James Cameron and he loves his VFX, that's going to look amazing in itself. I think the chief of the Fire Clan is going to be played by Charlie Chaplin's granddaughter, I think, who was in Game of Thrones. But I mean, as of right now, we've seen a few bits of artwork.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about the story, and I mean, this is where kind of people fall out over Avatar, where people argue that 1 and 2 share a lot of similarities in terms of story, which I agree with 100%. There is a lot of similarities there, and not a lot of diversity in terms of the story progression, I guess. But I believe this is the one, if I remember correctly, where James Cameron said the studio gave him no notes.
Interesting.
Oh, okay.
It was either 3 or 4, but apparently one of them, the script came back and they said no notes.
Wow.
And I just cannot remember which one it is. But
How many have they shot now?
So they did 2 and 3 kind of at the same time, but apparently they've prepared stuff for 5.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh yeah, this is the stuff where he talked about he did shots that he did later that are like flashbacks to the kids where he got them when they were still young, right?
Yeah, because they got to kind of keep them while they're young, and obviously it looks like they're going to gradually be replacing Jake and Kiri to some regard.
Yeah.
So yeah, apparently they kind of had to prepare footage ready for flashbacks.
Yeah. Interesting.
But apparently one of the things that might be happening, I don't know. Again, it's because they planned so many of these films. I don't know which one's which, but a potential revisit to Earth is potentially happening.
Oh,
but yeah, I mean, I've got nothing else to go on apart from those 4 bits of artwork, a title card. I mean, we probably won't get a teaser until
summer, maybe, like Comic-Con, perhaps.
Yeah,
that time of year.
I mean, that would only give it a few months until it's released, really.
Yeah. Maybe
maybe
you want to tease it earlier in the year, maybe Super Bowl-ish type time.
Yeah. I'd like at least like I don't know, like a minute teaser by like May, because I'm impatient.
You just said about coming back to Earth. This is my limited knowledge of Avatar. Am I right in thinking the only real time we spent on Earth was a deleted scene? I've seen like a deleted scene of.
There is a deleted scene where you see a little bit more of Jake, but that is pretty much the only time that we spend on Earth. You get to see like him bury. Well, you get to see his brother get incinerated, and then that's it. You don't really spend any time on Earth.
I'd be interested to see if they do go back to Earth, whether it follows what they had planned, like the way it looked in that scene, because I can remember that, or whether their idea of Earth has changed from what it was originally.
Am I imagining? Sorry.
Yeah. In the second one, they said that like Earth is like they've run out of resources. Everything. They're now on like a rushed mission to relocate everyone. So I don't know what that would look like.
Interesting.
Am I imagining this? But is that I feel like in the first one there's a shot of Jake in his wheelchair, like going through a crowd.
So I think that's the deleted scene.
Deleted scene, yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Of him, like he beats someone up at a bar.
Yeah.
Or something like that, and that's when he gets approached by the 2 guys who recruit him. It's only about like 2 minutes long.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is that little bit, and it's like a sort of like a I don't know, cyberpunky.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking.
Sort of thing. But yeah,
I've seen that.
We haven't actually seen that. God knows how many times I've seen it. Whoops.
Well, I kind of feel like I'm really predictable. So. I wonder.
Struggled.
I wonder if you can imagine what might be my most anticipated film of 2025.
Hmm.
Anyone want to hazard a guess what it?
Now you see me through.
Do you know what? I actually love both of those films, so
Yeah.
that would also be on the honorable mentions list. But
Yeah.
really, like, funnily enough, I'm gonna go Superman.
Yeah. No.
I know it's so as you like you totally weren't expecting it whatsoever, were you? But it just has to be like right now. Well, it could change. It could change because honestly, I love the Fantastic Four, and so that film could end up surpassing everything and being like the most amazing film of the year when we finally get to see some official footage. But as it stands, yeah, the hype train is definitely all pointing towards Superman for me right now. Um, Everything about that trailer, I just absolutely. In fact, I was watching it again today just cause.
Yeah. I've watched that trailer more times than I care to admit because it is just
Yeah,
so
I wouldn't like
so
to
good.
admit how many times I've watched it now. It, it's made it past 51 million views on DC's YouTube channel, and I don't want to
How
guess
many
how
of them are yours?
but having said that, the amazing thing about it is when you bear in mind it's only been out for like 2 weeks,
Mm.
it is now the eighth most watched DC trailer on YouTube of all of them in their lifetime views because I'm sad enough that I have a list.
What's the first one?
Oh, now you are asking. I will tell you in just a second.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot there.
Basically, because I was keeping an eye on it, someone asked me, and I ended up, because I work with stats in my day job, I actually wrote them all down. So I went through YouTube and pulled the most popular upload on an official Warner Brothers channel for each of the trailers and have just done like the lifetime views. So the number one is actually the final trailer for Joker, the first Joker.
Oh,
So that has 102 million views, 102.5 million views.
I don't know why. I would have said like the original Suicide Squad trailer. I don't know why.
That's
I
number
would have.
two.
Oh, right.
So Suicide Squad trailer one is number two with 97.9 million views.
That makes
And is
sense.
currently sitting at 51 million, just over 51 million. So
Damn.
it's past all of Man of Steel. It's now got a couple of trailers. It's got the official teaser and the SDCC trailer for Batman versus Superman. The teaser and the final trailer for the first Joker, the main trailer for the Batman, and the first trailer for Aquaman, interestingly, is sitting at 6.5 million views.
Blimey.
Yeah. So I mean, it's really impressive that Superman is up there in the top 10, like in
Mm.
the space of less than a month. When, like Suicide Squad is one of the most watched DC trailers of all time, and we're talking about nearly a decade for that.
Oh, don't you make it no.
I
Don't
know,
make-
I know, I know, I know.
Oh
But
God.
I mean, people who have probably heard me talk about this enough because I did a breakdown of the trailer and stuff, which you can go and watch over on YouTube or you can watch on TikTok and stuff. But I just think everything about it looks really, really exciting.
Mm.
There's so much, it's so vibrant, it's got so much life in it. It just looks so hopeful and it looks like Superman that I read in comics. But that's probably enough for me. Talk about Superman. Where are you on Superman? James,
Who-
where are you on Superman? We've not really talked about it all that much, actually.
no, actually, we did. I'm excited for it. I mean, I'm always interested. There was that whole kind of period where there was this idea of superhero fatigue,
Yeah.
whether it was a myth or not. And I don't think it is a myth. I think I'm feeling the superhero fatigue. But when I see like a trailer that like Superman, I was like, oh. So sorry, that's my dog. So I'm always going to be excited about a different iteration or a different version, regardless of who's Superman, who's the director. I'm always going to be for it. So I'm going to be there day one. I know that for a fact. So I guess I'm just kind of like I'm excited, but I don't want to get my hopes up too much.
Yeah.
But everything in the trailer looked great. Like yeah, no complaints from me. I just want a mixture of the cool action, but also Superman being the hero, and that kind of like as Clark being that bumbling sort of idiot, sort of that Christopher Reeve did so well. I want to see that those sort of two worlds meet in a little perfect cocktail. But just from the trailer, it looks like the balance is there for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Aaron, what about you?
I think the best way I can sum it up is I think I actually messaged you this, Neil, when it came out. Is that like I love that because you don't see it that much nowadays with like the first film in like a series of comic book films. Is that this is the first one, yet it feels like an already established world, and I love that because we don't with a lot of like the first film of something. There's a lot of like explaining this or establishing, like backstory, and it's the origin of something. The fact that like this is kind of just hitting the ground running and it's already like half started, I like that because I can't really think of another example outside of maybe the Batman, but that's not a very good example. Yeah, that's the one aspect I'm looking forward to the most because like we've seen the standard Superman story a couple times now. I'm hoping that this will kind of go, yeah, you kind of already know that.
Yeah.
Now we're just kind of going to get on with the stuff you want to see. And yeah, that's kind of the thing I'm looking forward to the most because I'm more intrigued than anything to know how James Gunn's gonna balance everything because it looks like there's a lot going on
There's
in
a
the
lot going on.
film.
That's my only thing where I'm like, please let that be off well. It's just heavy
Yeah,
when you start thinking about all the different people that are in it.
yeah, because I didn't realize how many characters were in the film, and then the trailer kind of throws a Green Lantern at you. It throws Hawkgirl at you. It throws, God knows how many other characters, and I'm like, please balance it right, because I know he's very good at doing that with like the Guardians of the Galaxy films and even the Suicide Squad. He's very good at taking a lot of people and kind of going right. They all get their own chance to shine. I just hope he's not throwing too much into this one. That's my one worry with the film. Everything else looks chef's kiss.
And then on the Marvel front, I think I'm most excited for. So I put in my kind of notes about what were the kind of things that I wanted to bring up. I definitely had Captain America. Really looking forward to Captain America.
Yeah.
I really like Anthony Mackie. I think I've enjoyed what I've seen of the trailers of it. I think Fantastic Four is the one that I'm most excited for Marvel this year. No, we've only seen kind of leaked footage from what they showed at SDCC back in July. But I grew up watching the cartoons. I loved the 90s cartoons. I love those characters. I even I like both of those movies from the Jessica Alba era.
I'm a strong defender of those two
They're
films.
so good. They were like
Yeah.
proper like classic superhero movies. I remember seeing them in cinema and just be like, that was like my first, I guess, one of my very earliest introductions to the Marvel world. So
Yeah,
talking of them.
I think I'm now at a point where like I can watch those films and still enjoy because a lot of people nitpick the hell out of them. I don't care. I'm one of those people where like because I've grown up with them and watched them God knows how many times. I can now kind of yes they've got issues, but like the one thing I always come back to is like yeah they kind of nailed the casting straight away, and no one gives the films credit for that because like say what you want about Michael Chiklis or whatever. Like I think they're good. Yeah. Side tangent, but I don't care. any chance to talk about
that. The only one that I didn't put on my list for them was Thunderbolts. I'm not excited for it.
That one's kind of come out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's not in my kind of most anticipated of the year list, but I am looking forward to it.
Yeah, when I first heard about it, I was like, this could go either way. And then I think it was the main trailer that they released a couple of months ago that kind of sold me.
Yeah.
Because that kind of very clearly established the tone and the style of the film. And I'm like, oh, okay. This looks like it's doing so. It's kind of got a personality to itself, and I kind of like that. So yeah, I think I'm it's trying to rank the three. I'm more excited for Thunderbolts than I am Captain America, but that's by a very tiny margin. And then Fantastic Four's the one I'm excited for the most. But again, I need to once I see a bit of footage. I have seen the San Diego Comic-Con leaked thing, and I like that. But once we see some official footage, that will cement where I'm excited for about the three of them.
James, where are you on Marvel for this year?
I don't know. I don't know. I like everyone in the Thunderbolts. I just don't know how it's going to work. I like the trailer again. It set the tone really nicely. I just don't know if I'm excited for it. Fantastic Four. I think I'm more intrigued again. I think I just need that little bit more footage to.
Yeah.
I'm looking for that hook. and I don't think I've been given it yet. So maybe with a bit more footage. But like you know, as you've both discussed, like the casting looks great. The concepts around it are great. I think I just need that little bit of something. Captain America. Really excited to see Red Hulk. It looks like we're finally getting a Hulk character, like an actual Hulk character, that could be cool. I've been bitterly disappointed with the way that Hulks have been treated the last few years, and Red Hulk seems like a bit of a return to kind of like. I mean, again, tangent. I was a very early defender of 2008 Edward Norton Incredible
Watched
Hulk.
it yesterday.
I love it so much, and then suddenly, like, you know, a few months ago when, you know, people weren't really enjoying where, you know, certain characters were going, they were like, oh, actually, the Incredible Hulk isn't that bad. I was like, thank you. Where were you in 2008 where I was getting bullied?
It's so like
Incredible Hulk.
we've started basically we've gone back to the beginning because I was like, "Do you know what? I just feel like watching Marvel right back from Iron Man again. I feel like that Incredible Hulk owes a lot to Batman Begins, and although it's an origin story, I feel like they were very much looking at what Nolan was doing with like Batman Begins and Dark Knight and going, let's try and do that, but in the Marvel world.
Yeah. Do you know what I always?
Go on.
Sorry, I was going to say. Do you know what I always compare the Incredible Hulk to?
Go
Which I don't think anyone. I don't hear anyone comparing. It feels like one of the Bourne films, but with the Incredible Hulk just kind of dumped in it.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah.
Like stylistically in the camera work, it just feels very chaotic in a Bourne sense. But the Hulk's there.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I've always loved, because I loved the Bourne films when I was growing up, and I think that's why I love it so much, because it does feel like a thriller more than anything else. And again, the Hulk's just kind of there.
There you go. I bet nobody listening had on their 2025 bingo card that we were going to say The Incredible Hulk was one of our most anticipated movies of 2025. But bring it back. Bring it
Like
back.
with Captain America, it's just good to see like kind of like the kind of scary Hulk sort of attributes back on the big
It doesn't seem like Mark Ruffalo's in it, unless that's a surprise. But it feels like a Hulk movie without the Incredible Hulk, because you've got obviously Liv Tyler back as Betty Ross. You've got Thunderbolt Ross in there. You've got a Red Hulk. You've got, spoiler alert, the leader and stuff.
Yeah.
There's so many Hulk characters that I'm like, isn't this basically a Hulk movie but without Hulk? Unless he's going to show up as a surprise. Kind of interesting where it goes. But very, very excited for it.
If Hulk turns up, would that take?
Does that take away from
Cat being the one to take down Red Hulk? So I'd love it because, you know, like, it's Red Hulk. Why is Hulk not fighting Red Hulk? Like, why isn't that a thing? But you also don't want to take that away from Cat.
Yeah, because he deserves having. I mean, obviously he had the Disney Plus show, but I want to see him own the big screen and then not just be like, oh, it's the second Captain America. I want them to just treat him like he's Captain America, because that's what they would do in the comics. Give me that. Give me that. We'll see.
Yeah, I had no idea Liv Tyler was in it, actually.
Oh, sorry, spoiler alert.
It's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, she's not in the trailer, but she is on the cast list. So I mean, it could be, I've not seen any footage or any stills of her in it, so it could be a myth or a rumor. But I believe she's in it.
Please let it not be a multiverse movie. Just, I don't need that right now. Just
they will find a way. They will find a way.
Okay, right. You've kind of just segued there. So I was going to say, James, is there anything else on your list? But you've just said find a way. Life finds a way. And so this podcast is finding a way for me to mention Jurassic World Rebirth, which is on my list.
That's on mine as well.
I mean, I'm pretty sure all three of us are quite big Jurassic fans. So where are we all? What are we all thinking about Rebirth? I mean, I'm totally down for Scarlett Johansson to turn into a dinosaur. The AI trailer was awesome. I take my money. I will watch that trailer.
I saw that. I was sold. I don't know.
We don't know very much about it, to be fair.
I think that's part of it. Not to be the pessimist, but like, I thought with the third Jurassic World, I thought we were going to have a longer break.
Yep.
Mm.
Because I thought that was going to be that chapter over, and then they were going to come and have a nice hiatus, and then we could come back and revisit dinosaurs later down the line. But
Mm.
it was a lot sooner than I was expecting, and I don't know any of the dinosaurs in it yet. That's always a big thing. I
Mm.
really want the
I want my
Spinosaurus,
favorites. Yeah.
but
So we're what? We must be 3-4 years on only from the last one.
it just
If we're
it
even
doesn't feel like a lot. Like, I know that's quite a long time, but it's sometimes in movie terms that's not anything at all.
it was 2022, so we are barely moving into sort of 2 to 3 years. So
Which
it
is
is
Yeah.
pretty fast.
I thought they were, the way that like it was like this is gonna be this is it. I don't know, just it felt like there was gonna be like a I don't know 5-6 year break between because there's never any rush. The Jurassic Park stories are timeless. Like you could come
Yeah.
back 10 years later and go, we're gonna do a new Jurassic Park, and people would
Oh, people will
love
always.
Mm.
But then, having said that, there must be a reason why we're coming back so soon, and I want to know what that idea is.
Gareth Edwards, though.
Yeah.
Love that
Also
we've got Gareth
big,
Edwards.
big plus. Yeah,
I
100%.
I was literally about to say the one like I'm excited for it because like the cast and it's Jurassic Park again, but like my number one reason is Gareth Edwards because I love everything that man has done so far. One of my favorite films is Monsters.
Yeah.
Because I could gush about that film for bloody ages. And one of my goals for this year is to interview him just so I can thank him for the fact that Monsters exists. That's all I want to do. I don't want to talk about Jurassic World. I just want to thank you for that.
James has actually asked him a question
I did, yeah. The
at the
creator,
screening of The
sent it to
Creator.
him.
They
Yeah,
did a Q&A, and you did ask, so you technically you've sort of interviewed him, but you have spoken to him, and it is on, like, we have it on video that it's
somewhere.
We have proof.
yeah.
Oh,
He
I
seems
love
like such
that.
a great guy, so I'm interested to, especially off the back of The Creator, I'm interested to see what sensibilities from that he can bring to this, because given that was, I know it wasn't exactly a low budget film, but it wasn't like they did such amazing stuff with the visuals on that film. If you can bring even a tiny shred of that to Jurassic Park world, universe, whatever we want to call it, I think it'd be really exciting.
Also, I want dinosaurs to be scary again rather than weapons, because that was the whole thing that the Jurassic World trilogy went for, is this idea of weaponizing,
Yeah.
the Indoraptor, the Dominus Rex and stuff like that. Instead of weaponize it, can we go back to like making them predators? And I think Gareth Edwards is a director who could absolutely do that.
Yeah.
Give me a hallway scene like Vader, but with a dinosaur.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so
yeah, you're putting thoughts into my head, and I like everything I'm hearing. I was just gonna whilst we're talking about things being scary, I just want to segue to my last film that I've got because I want to mention it. It's 28 Weeks Later, because that was not initially on my most anticipated list. And then the trailer came out, and I was like, "That's shot to like my third favorite, anticipated thing of the year."
Yep.
Because that trailer alone is so good.
Yeah, So that first film is the reason I went to film school. That was what sold me on. I'm going to make movies. Yeah. Less said about that, the better. But
I thought there was going to be something more to that.
But that was I loved that film so much. Like the gorilla-ness of the whole shoot, all the stories that everyone knows about them, like running out into the street at 4 o'clock in the morning at sunrise to catch footage because there was, they had no permits to shut stuff down. All of that stuff, loved it. Absolutely obsessed with that film. Adore it. One of my favorite movies of all time, still to this day, along with its plethora of alternate endings. And then, like a lot of people, I was disappointed by Weeks. And in fact, I couldn't even tell you the last time I went back and watched Weeks because I didn't dislike it. It just it does not hold account to the original for me.
I've not actually seen 28 Weeks Late. I'll plan to watch it before seeing the new one, but I've not.
The same.
Yeah.
Do you know what my issue with it was? And I was worried that this is what was going to happen, and it kind of came to pass exactly as I thought it would, because it was such an indie film.
Mm.
and then 20th Century snapped it up and stuck a ton of money behind it. And funnily enough, it did exactly what I thought it was going to do, which was America then came to save the day,
Yeah.
which kind of ruins it because it suddenly makes it all about like, oh, we're here with like big army presence and we're going to nuke London, and it's like
Mm.
it swoops in to save the day, and it went from fun little movie to just being way too big. Whereas this trailer for this one is terrifying.
Yeah.
I want to see it, but I don't think I'm brave enough. It's how I felt with Nosferatu. I really want to see Nosferatu, but I'm too scared.
So
And
I don't think that film is scary.
no,
Not for
it
us.
just
It's,
looks really unsettling.
I was going to say it's menacing. It's menacing more than actually making you
And I
jump.
really want to see, 28 years, right?
Yeah.
I really want to see it, but I watched that trailer. I thought, there's no way I can do that on a big screen in the dark. I haven't even seen the first one.
Mm.
It changed the zombie genre forever.
Well, it's now available to watch.
It is
You can
finally,
rent
you can pick it back up on digital again. Finally.
So I can actually get around to watching it because loads of people will talk about it. I was like, you're telling me all the stuff that I like. I can't do anything about it because no one's got it on DVD, no one's got it on Blu-ray.
Yeah, I
Can't
stupidly
watch it online.
let my DVD go. I don't know why I ever let my DVD go, but I did.
Now I can actually go back and finally watch it. So I will get to it at some point. That trailer was, I think that's, even though I'm very on the mindset of I'm probably not going to see this in cinema, that was one of the coolest trailers. Like just how it made me feel on like a visceral level. Like
Yeah,
it was really, it was a really good trailer. Really, but coward.
yeah.
Coward.
That honestly was the first trailer I've seen in a good couple of years, maybe, that I've felt like I got a visceral like reaction from it. Because it like a lot of horror trailers nowadays are a bit predictable.
Yeah.
Whereas that I was like, I think the first thing I thought when I finished it was like, that looks intense.
Yeah.
Like that's the very first time I've seen a horror trailer where I'm like, that looks like it's just I don't know how best to describe it, but it's just intense. Yeah. Like it kind of will just grab you by the shoulders and just won't let go. And
I feel like part of the trailer has been dead for years, and trailers have just become, firstly, too many for every film, but also we always end up talking about how we feel like we've seen most of the film by the time the film then comes out because there's either been so many trailers or they've revealed too much. And I feel like 28 Years and Superman are two really great trailers that, I mean, Superman shows you a lot but tells you nothing, really, because there's no dialogue. And 28 Years is just so visceral that, again, you see quite a lot, but you don't understand any of it. You just know that it's terrifying. And that bring back the art of the trailer, because trailers used to be magical.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Any other shouts from you, James, on your list before we move?
No, I think I'm all good. I think I covered literally all the major ones that I think I'm excited for this year.
I've got one more, which is a bit of a random one that I'm just going to chuck in there. And it's been on my list and genuinely was on my list. And then something even more exciting happened. I wanted to shout Star Trek Section 31, which is a Paramount Plus streaming movie that's out in a couple of weeks. It's the first time Star Trek's ever done a streaming movie event, as they call them. And then lo and behold, screener arrived like 2 hours ago. So I'm going to go watch it straight after this. But I very much wanted to champion it because, firstly, it's Star Trek. Secondly, it's on streaming, so not many people will know about it as much because it's not as high profile. And it's Michelle Yeoh. It's Michelle Yeoh for 100 minutes shooting up shit in space. It's going to be absolutely amazing.
Do you think she'll break into song like she does in Wicked?
Don't know. But you never know. I still haven't seen Wicked. I really should.
It's so good. I mean, I'm biased because it's one of my favourite musicals of all time, but it's just... I was annoyed I was one of the last people to ever see it in cinema, but I was like, it's so good. No, I'm gonna tangent if I talk about Wicked, but it's very good. It's very good.
I would recommend this. Not that I've watched it yet, but I'm going to recommend this film for anybody who's not a massive Trekkie because it's not what people would expect from Star Trek because it's kind of espionage Star Trek. It's like Star Trek does Mission Impossible because it's like a Black Ops secret doing super secret things. I've even got my Section 31 badge right in front of me. So I'm putting that on my list. Just getting that in there.
Hmm.
Go watch it. It's out on the
You,
something. I can tell you the
okay.
embargo lifts on the 22nd, so I'll tell you far more about it then.
I mean, saying that it's Star Trek meets Mission Impossible, you might have just sold
I
me
was
on that
gonna say,
alone.
I'm now interested in that because
Yeah.
Go,
and
go.
you know I'm not the biggest Trekkie in the world,
You're
but
on the journey though. You're on the
yeah,
journey to becoming
yeah,
one.
I feel like I'm on that journey. So
Cool. Well, okay. Let's move on to TV. And hear what kind of stuff we might be interested and excited for that is coming in the world of TV this year. Because actually, when I was starting to think about it, I was like, I'm not sure. I'm in the middle of Harley Quinn season 5, which is top of my list, and that starts in the US in a week's time, 10 days, in fact. 16th of January, it starts in the US, and then it'll probably be on, it's normally on E4, Channel 4 for us, a little bit
Hmm.
later in the year. Um, but I was like, what else am I excited for in 2025? And then I was like, oh, there's actually tons of really good TV this year.
Hmm.
Me anyway. um, James, going to come to you. Any off the top of your head first? What are you excited for in TV land?
well, last night I literally just finished Squid Game season 2.
Still not watched any of that. Really, really.
And apparently season 3 is going to be this year as well.
Yeah.
I don't know how true that is, but if it is, that'd be number one. But I think that might be just be part of the hype of. I've never seen a show end on a cliffhanger like this. It's like they just went, no, you
Mm.
gotta wait.
So maybe they
Yeah.
shot back to back. I think they just maybe shot and went, okay, this is the end point.
It would be a smart decision to do that, especially if it is set to be released this year. That
Yeah.
would make sense. Um, so I would say Squid Game. Um, TV.
Yeah. There's like I have so many honorable mentions.
Hmm.
Like Last of Us didn't
Oh
quite
my
make
god, yeah,
my
of course,
list.
The Last of Us.
We'll be
Yeah,
back. Yeah. Um,
that is not going to be a fun one. That is going to be
if you've
that
played
is
the
going to
second
upset
game,
so many people, especially people who don't play the game. So
yeah.
very traumatic for them, and I'm very excited to see how because I watched it with my parents. They have no idea what's going to happen, and I'm just like, oh, this is good. Um,
Oh no.
absolutely, yeah, Last of Us season 2. I guess it's like a as you know, Neil, I'm kind of on my One Piece binge,
Yep.
and One Piece does return this year. I'm still about 800 episodes behind, but I would say I'm excited for One Piece to come back once I eventually catch up. Um, I'm just trying to
This is
think.
why I can't get into anime stuff because I'm like, oh, One Piece sounds great. How many episodes are there? There are 14 million. I'm like, oh,
I've
okay.
put so much on hold to tank through One Piece because I'm on like episode 230 now, which I'm surprised I even managed to do myself. But actually, looking out from like a outside perspective, I was like, how can people sit there for 1,000 episodes and like this, continuously?
Yeah.
But after like
Hmm.
50 episodes, I was like, I get this, I understand this now, and now I think a few days ago I watched about 20 episodes a day, just cracked
Wow.
my head like
How
a
long are
veg.
they?
Um,
Are they like half an hour or are they?
Once you get rid of the intro, the outro, it's about 18 to 19 minutes. So you can
hmm.
actually tank through quite a hefty amount.
That's
So
okay.
um other t
Aaron, I've got a feeling I might know what might be top of your list or might be very high on your list. And I
Go
feel like
on.
James will then go, ooh, yeah, me too.
Go
So I'll
on.
throw over to you. Just tell me, what are you excited for?
So, oh god, my TV list that I actually struggled with because I had to like do a last minute dash to IMDb, and I was like, what actually is coming out this year? Um, a lot of mine are like the typical ones. So, like, a lot of people are excited for Daredevil Born Again,
Yep.
oh yeah.
understandably so. There was one that was in the list on IMDb that I completely forgot about. And then as soon as I found it, I was like, okay, now I'm excited. Welcome to Derry, which I think is a
Oh, yeah,
prequel
the
to It
prequel.
films.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I love those those two It films.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I was like, I completely forgot that was a thing happening. And more of It is great because I love those two films. I've put Alien on the list, but I'm a bit
Oh, yeah.
I I, lo- I love the franchise,
Yep.
but
I know.
Noah Hawley's output recently has been a bit. He's the definition of hit and miss. Like I love Fargo, but I very quickly dropped off of Legion.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know whether to be excited for it or
Yeah,
not.
I am with you on that one because I love that franchise, but I'm kind of like, okay, so it's on Earth and it's before the movies, or kind of in the
Yeah.
very like the time of the first one. So I'm like, how do you? Is it going to end? I just feel like it's going to end up reading really tenuously Alien, and not
Yeah.
really Alien, and will just be a sci-fi show set on Earth that
That,
happens to be Wayland Yutani.
yeah, that's why I'm really like I've got it in here in massive inverted commas because the last time we had xenomorphs on Earth was Alien versus Predator
Right.
Requiem, and I despise that film with a passion. And I'm just worried that it could. It probably won't because Noah Hawley's very good at like taking a thing and then doing something different with it. So I'm hoping it doesn't go down that route. But yeah, I've got it on my list with a massive asterisk next to it.
So I thought the show that you might mention that James would then go, "Ooh, yeah, me too," would be Andor.
Oh,
And
God.
right, well,
I forget.
I would have mentioned it, but I am only just watching season 1 for the first time at the moment. So
Hey,
Oh,
interesting.
yeah, because I a lot when it came out, there was like a lot of stuff out at the same time, and it kind of got very
Yeah, it
quickly
was a very
pushed to
busy
the back
period.
of the. Yeah, so I've only it's the last Star Wars show I have to, in terms of the live action ones. I think it's the last one I've got to tick off, and I'm loving it so far. I'm about just. No, I'm nowhere near the halfway point, but I'm enjoying it.
You're about to get Ben
And
Mendelsohn back on screen in Star.
yeah, in his Aussie accented glory. Uh,
And I
love
also
it.
think is that might actually be the only live action Star Wars show for next year, right? I
I
think
think so.
I think so.
Yeah, I don't think they've got much up their sleeve.
because Ahsoka is going to start filming. I say next year. This year we're in it. 2025. We're here. Um,
Yeah.
it's going to shoot this year. So I don't think they've got anything else live action unless there's a
And
surprise.
the Mando film is the year after.
Yeah. Which
So
I love the fact that they've managed to shoot an entire film.
yeah,
We know nothing. We've seen nothing.
Mm.
Like there's no
it's
set
done.
photos. There's literally nothing.
It's finished film. We only know a few people in it.
Yeah.
Isn't it Sigourney Weaver?
She apparently is in it. She is
Yeah.
appearing on the cast list. Yeah.
Sigourney Weaver's in it. Jeremy Allen White is playing one of
Jabba's
the
son.
Huts.
Is that
Yeah.
true though? Is that
Yeah.
actually confirmed?
Yeah, I think it was.
That's a great throwback to probably the Clone Wars' darkest days with the first movie, because the first movie is
Oh,
about
don't
Ahsoka and
remind me of that film.
Jabba's son. So I think that's a very bold move. But also I think it's good of them to recognize that it's still a thing.
That's
You
the only
know?
Clone Wars I've ever seen is that film.
I remember liking it. I mean, I remember being very young
I
since, but I remember liking it.
I like the series. That film I watched when I was on a bit of a Star Wars high. God, like late 2010s when like we were getting the sequel trilogy, and I watched it and I'm like, what is this? What's going on? Although this is the thing. My favorite Clone Wars thing isn't actually canon anymore. It's the micro series from 2003 that.
Oh my god, yeah, that's such the animation and the brutality of it sometimes
Yeah,
is insane. I
it,
miss
it,
that so much.
it's one of my favorite Star Wars related things ever, and no one talks about it, and it annoys me. Anyway, and I'm too bad at like creating tangents. I'm just don't let me
Well,
talk.
I'm glad I've introduced the two of you because James will know it intimately. If anyone knows about Star Wars, it's James.
Yeah.
Well, I
forgot
have
about
one.
Andor.
Okay. Yeah, terrible. I'm going to throw out Strange Things because we will get at least some of the final batch of episodes this year, if not the entire final batch of episodes, and I'm excited to see where it's going to end. I'm sad it's going to end because I have actually enjoyed the whole journey, but I'm really excited to see where they bring the core storyline and core cast to an end. I can't actually remember what the release window is for it or how many episodes it is. I've got a feeling it might be 8.
I think I checked the other day and it's 8, but I think some of them are like near feature length,
Or
just
hours
on their
long.
own. Yeah, like
The
good
last
2 hours for one episode.
previous season were really, really long, like an hour and 45 or something like that. So
Yeah.
that wouldn't surprise me at all.
I loved that last, like everyone else, there is a little bit of a dip, but I feel like the last season was awesome. I feel like they really pulled it back. And I love the stage show. I've just booked to go see it again in a couple of weeks. And I'm just I will eat up anything from that world because I love it. Comic books are great. They've done some weird and wonderful crossovers in comics. If you've not read it, go read Stranger Things Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because that's a mashup you never knew you needed.
I didn't even know it existed until just
I'm really excited to see where they bring it, but I think that's going to be really cool. I have to shout a couple more Star Treks as well because we've got. This isn't a mass. I was going to say this isn't a massive year for Star Trek because Discovery's ended, Lower Decks has ended, Picard has ended, but we have season 3 of Strange New Worlds, which doesn't have a release window yet, but will probably be like Easterish time. And then in summer we should get the first season of the new Starfleet Academy show, which could be really exciting. Which is the one that's got a really great cast.
So good that you can't remember.
It's so good, I can't remember.
Great, it's great. You have my source, me.
I think I just saw in real time the cast just disappear from your head.
Holly Hunter, who I wanted to call something else, and Paul Giamatti are both in
wow.
it. Paul Giamatti is going to be the villain, and Helen Hunt is the head. Helen Hunt. There you go. That's what I was going to do. I was going to say Helen Hunt, not Holly Hunter. Is the head of Starfleet Academy. So it's got such an awesome cast. I don't know how they scored these people for Star Trek. It's going to be interesting to see, but I think it will, unfortunately, like Discovery, be quite polarizing because it's set in Discovery's timeline, which upsets anyone with a neckbeard.
Yeah, I know. I never watched Discovery, but I know, like, from the moment that started, people didn't like it.
Certain corners of the internet.
Yeah, just I think that was half the reason why I didn't watch it because the ferocity around it was so fierce. I was like, yeah, I'm going to leave that until the heat dies down, and then I'll watch it from a distance when it's done.
You can binge it all now that it is over.
How convenient. I will
fight for it until my dying day, just because. I mean, it's not the greatest TV show of all time. It's not the most amazingly well written. It is great. I love it. I love all the characters. But it got so much unnecessary hate for unnecessary reasons that I love it even more. Particularly Sonequa Martin Green, who played Captain Burnham, who's the lead. She got so much hate for what I will happily deem as absolutely no worthy reason whatsoever. So I would fight for that character till my absolute dying breath because I love her.
I feel like I'm getting confused with another Star Trek show. Am I right in saying Anthony Rapp's in that?
Yep, he is.
Yeah, cool. I'm not.
That was one of the
confused.
reasons everyone hated it because he was in it, and he has a husband in the show. So that's recently a reason why Star Trek was no longer Star Trek because there ain't no gays in space, which is not true.
Stupid. I don't get the internet. I was gonna transition while we're on the topic of sci-fi.
Ooh, go.
To one of my last picks for TV, which is obvious Doctor Who. It's one of my favourite shows. Had to mention. It was a last-minute addition because I had 4 listed.
I'm glad someone picked it because I wrote it in my intro script and then didn't put it in my list.
Well, this is the thing. I had like 4 written down. The other one that I haven't mentioned yet is actually Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man because I think that was really good. And I had those 4 written down. And then I was like, what could I do as a 5th one? And it was like 2 hours later, I was like,
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who! It's your favourite show of all time, you idiot! How did you forget it?
It's weird though, because they've not given us, because we only have, I really thought the Christmas Day trailer for season 2 was going to say, coming March, or, coming April.
Yeah.
I would have put money on them saying it was coming in March. So when it just said 2025, I was like,
I feel like we are going to get like a May or March release, because that's when we got it last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I feel like they're going to repeat themselves again. But I will admit, that teaser for season 2 has intrigued me. Initially, I was like, okay, it's going to be more of the same as season 1, great. But that trailer looks like, 1, it's going darker. 2, it looks like, when I say weird, I mean it looks like they're going to try some weird and wonderful different things. And I love it when Doctor Who dabbles in that.
Yeah.
Even if it falls flat on its face, I just love it when anything try something, and I want to know what the cartoon is coming out of the screen, because that shot alone, I'm like, oh, hello, I like the look of this. What
Mixed
is this?
media.
It looks creepy.
Give me some mixed media.
Yeah, give me Cuphead in Doctor Who. I want that. I want Cuphead.
Doctor Who, that's not one you and I have talked about much, James, in our many years together. Where are you on Doctor Who?
I kind of stopped watching Doctor Who around Matt Smith, to be honest. It wasn't. I guess it wasn't for any particular reason. I don't think it was. I was a big lover of all the David Tennant stuff, and a majority of the Matt Smith stuff. But I think it was just one of those things that just kind of fizzled out, and I never got back on the horse really. So unfortunately, not much to say about Doctor Who. I kind of keep up to date with major events. So I'm always interested to see who the new companion is, who the new Doctor is, whether they bring back, certain villains, whether the Master comes back, how the Daleks or Cybermen are reintroduced and stuff like that. But to actually watch it, no, I haven't done that for. I think the last time I watched it was I gave Peter Capaldi's episodes a few attempts at it. Just didn't feel the same to me, so I didn't stick with it, fortunately. But maybe that's a regret.
I will admit, Capaldi's run is where I've stuck with the show from start to now. Yep. But during his run was when I was I'm very close to dipping off, because it's not bad. It's just I'm losing interest.
Yeah,
a little bit, and then Jodie came in and peaked it, and then the writing was bad, and then then I was just I guess I've got to stick with it now.
Yeah, I had a similar journey. I wavered during Matt Smith, and then kind of peaked with Capaldi. I enjoyed Capaldi more than I enjoyed Smith, though I enjoy Smith more on a rewatch.
Yeah, same.
And then I really drop off with Jodie, which is I hate. And I'm sure I've said this before on multiple different things where I've talked about Doctor Who. I hate saying that I dropped off with Jodie because it's nothing to do with her. Because I really like her. I just hate the writing that goes around her.
Yeah.
It's so not for me.
Yeah,
I totally get that it has its fans, and I'm glad that it does have its fans. But it's the fact that it is a show that reinvents itself. Not every era is going to be for everyone, and that era is just not for me, unfortunately.
You pretty much said everything that I say to people when I say that I watch Doctor Who. It's just there's nothing wrong with her or even the companions. It's just the writing is abysmal.
Yeah.
Because it treats the audience like kids, and that's just... God, I'm not going to rant. I'm going to go on another tangent. I don't want to rant about Chris Chibnall anymore. He's done good stuff. Broadchurch was great.
I will cut through with my final one before we move on to some kind of slightly different media. Peacemaker season 2. It will be out not long after Superman, so probably August, September-ish time. I reckon we'll get it, because James Gunn has said it will be not too far behind Superman. But I can't wait. First, I can't wait to see how they sort of twist it from where it was in season 1 to be now in the DCU, because there's been some acknowledgement that it might be acknowledged in the show itself that things have changed. But storyline wise, it just looks really, really fun from what they're doing, from what I've seen from set photos and stuff. So I won't say too much because I don't want to spoil it for anyone. But it looks like it's going to be a really, really fun season, and I just love John Cena in that role.
They finished filming, haven't they? Yeah.
They're finished, and they are completely in post-production. They finished filming not long before Christmas, so they're in post-production. And it just looks super fun.
I do want to watch Peace. I've not actually seen Peacemaker season 1 purely because I didn't know where you. I know it's on to rent now and stuff, but at the time of its release, I was I really want to watch it. Where the hell do I watch it? Yeah. And no, I never got a clear answer, no matter where I looked. But I might watch it leading up to Peacemaker season 2, just so I'm
in theory, if you wanted to sort of prepare yourself for Superman, then your necessary viewing is The Suicide Squad, followed by Peacemaker, followed by I'm not trying to play with you, Cat, followed by Creature Commandos, which hopefully will come to the UK at some point.
I really want to watch that.
That's ending in the US in just a couple of days. And then you would go into Superman, and then it would be Peacemaker season 2, because your through line is Amanda Waller. And then so it would be Amanda Waller if you go all the way back to the Suicide Squad. But then also becomes Frank Grillo's character of Rick Flag Senior, who
Yeah.
is introduced in Creature Commandos, but is then also in Superman and will be in Peacemaker season 2 as well.
Oh, blimey.
So there's quite a few characters that tie all of it together at that point.
Okay.
Not a lot of story that ties it all together, but characters that you can follow the journey of.
Okay, I'm intrigued now. I'm intrigued.
I could keep going on it for a long time. Actually, that feels like a good place to go to what we had next on our list, which was kind of comic books, manga, books in general, which I have to read more of this year. Because I think I read one last year and I don't think I finished it. I'm actually reading a book by one of the authors you interviewed, the Star Wars guy.
Oh,
John.
Yeah. John Jackson Miller.
That's him. I'm reading his Batman book.
Yeah. What the kind of like the 1989 Batman.
Yeah, so he's written. This is terrible because it's not a book I'm looking forward to because it's already out and I'm about 2 chapters away from the end. He's written a book that is set right between 89 and Batman Returns. So it's fully in Tim Burton's world, picking up on plot threads from 89 and tying it into Returns. They've just announced there's going to be another one coming out this year. So that is actually a book I am very much looking forward to this year because I've really enjoyed what he's written so far. Yeah, I didn't realize it was him. I knew this book was coming out. And then when I got it, I was like, John Jackson Miller. I know that name. And then obviously it's got a list of other stuff that he's done. And I'm like, it's the Star Wars guy.
I'm trying to think. I want to read, like you said, I want to read more in 2020.
What's on your list, Aaron? Because I have sort of inundated you with comic books since you foolishly said that you would like to do some writing for us.
Well, this is the thing. Because I love reading comics, but like in recent years, I've kind of stuck to a specific, Batman and specific types of Marvel and DC stuff. So by now writing for the website, it's actually, a lot of the stuff I've written about has been mostly like, do you call them independent?
Yeah, I would, because it's not part of the big two. It's not the big superhero publisher. It's the cooler, slightly more edgier, lower profile.
And I've really enjoyed like delving into more of them because that seems to be the stuff that I'm covering, and I'm happy that being my niche.
As am I.
Yeah, and to be honest, some of my favourite comic books of all time are some of the independent ones. Like, I don't hear anyone talk about Nailbiter, but I love Nailbiter.
Yeah.
Other examples have escaped my brain, but
I've always looked forward to in 2025.
So the first two that I'm going to mention are in inverted commas because they've already started, but I just know they're going to carry on this year. The first one is the one that I've been covering since the first word go, and that's the Tin Can Society.
Yep.
I've stopped for the moment, but I will pick it back up again near the end. I love Image Comics, and this kind of exemplifies everything they're really good at doing, like good storytelling.
They have an amazing kind of pulpy vibe to them, which I really dig. You kind of, even before you've seen the logo on the front cover, you kind of know you've picked up an Image book.
Yeah, that's the best way to describe it. And I don't think I've read a few Image comics like The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Nailbiter again, it's the only example that's come to mind. But I feel like the Tin Can Society is the first one I've read, in terms of the ones I have read, that feels like really focused on trying to make sure that the characters come first. There is that central mystery, but it always never forgets to like, oh, yes, but what is the character motivation or the point behind this scene? The other one that I want to mention that's technically started, my review for it comes out on Wednesday, is The Lucky Devils, because that was one that I just asked for on a whim, I absolutely loved the first issue. And
what's it about? I haven't read it. I read your review, I haven't read it.
The basic premise is that 2 demons in hell want to start a revolution in hell. So the only way that they can do that is, so demons in hell in this comic are attached to a specific human on Earth.
Oh, wow.
And they're kind of responsible for, so say for example, if you're having a really bad day, they're responsible for kind of tipping the scale and making that bad thing happen
Yep.
without the humans' control. So to start this revolution, these two demons go to their respective humans and kind of go, right, we're revealing ourselves to you, and we're gonna kind of make you incredibly like powerful people, rich, anything you want. So it allows us to tick off the seven deadly sins or the levels of hell that we need to get more powerful, then start the revolution. So it's kind of like a win-win scenario for both, and it's a lot funnier than I was expecting it to be.
Nice.
And the artwork is stunning. Like it literally, like when I was reading it, I was like, "Good God, this is it." It doesn't look real, but like the amount of detail in the facial like illustrations is like, wow, it's just it's good. I can't remember if it's Image or Boom.
It's
I want to say
Image.
it's Image. Yeah. Again, it does feel like an Image comic, but it's got its own unique personality, and
Yeah.
it's got it's one of the first comics I've read in a while where it's got a very confident feel right from the word go. And I
Awesome.
just want to see more of it. Similar to Barstow as well, which is an
Yeah.
honourable mention.
Oh, do you know what? I've just realized it might be Dark Horse. One of the books we reviewed this week was Dark Horse, and the other one was Image.
Dark Horse, I think, is Barstow.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. And again, that is very much once you like look at the first page of Barstow, it's like, yeah, this is a Dark Horse thing, because it's just it's kind of gnarly and unsettling, but also, again, it's very funny, but it's very dark. Barstow's dark humour. Lucky Devils is just regular humour.
Yeah.
But Barstow is very much in the preacher,
Cool. Okay.
Garth Ennis
Yeah.
level of humour, where it's a bit gross,
Nice.
but it's actually just funny.
James, anything that you are looking forward to reading wise this year?
Jay Kristoff did two books. I think it was Empire of the Vampire and Empire of the Damned, which is
Martin loves them.
Empire of the Vampire, absolutely loved. And I believe he's releasing the third one this year. I think he teased it online. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's 100% confirmed or not, but I believe there is one final book that will close that series. So if that is true, definitely that one.
Awesome.
There's also the end of a trilogy by an author, I think her name is Hannah, called God Killer, and I think her new book is called Faith Break. It's like a fantasy one that kind of you know how they say never judge a book by its cover. Well, I picked it up because I like the cover, and I just happen to like it.
I do that a lot. I do that a lot.
Looks great. So I've kind of stuck with that one, and that one's coming out in, I think it's either February or March. But I want to try and expand my reading a little. I want to get back into reading manga.
Yeah.
But in terms of specific titles, I don't think I have anything definitive just yet. But I definitely want to pick a few more up.
Nice. We can certainly find you stuff.
Oh, thanks.
We can certainly find you stuff.
More work.
I had a few. So there's Batman Hush, but replacing the U with a 2, Batman Hush 2, or Hattush, which is Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee coming back to writing and drawing Batman comics, which is kicking off in March for a sequel to Hush, which is like one of the biggest storylines of all time in Batman comics. It's going to be awesome. Ultimate Wolverine, which is starting this year, which is being written by Chris Condon. That's going to be awesome, hopefully, which is part of Marvel expanding its Ultimate Universe.
That was an honourable mention on mine, actually, because I love a lot of the Ultimate line, to be honest.
I'm reading more Ultimate line with Marvel than I am kind of anything else. The only other book that I read of Marvel's is actually I'm reading a few of the X books, but Daredevil is the only other one that I religiously follow from Marvel. Ultimate Flash, Absolute Flash in DC's version of Ultimate, which is Absolute. That's launching this year, which should be fun. That's the second wave of DC's Absolute. And then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is on my list, which is just awesome. I was very, very lucky, thank you IDW gods, to get a really early sneak peek of issue 6, which is out, I want to say February. I don't think it's this month. I think it's next month's issue, which is when Juan Ferreira joins as basically, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles relaunched towards the end of last year, and the first 4 issues, each one was a different turtle. and each one had a different artist. So Jason Aaron is writing, but was joined by a different artist to draw the story of each of the Turtles. Then issue 5 had another artist, and Juan joins in issue 6 as the series ongoing because now the Turtles are back together. They were very much separate in their individual issues, and this is them coming back together. And I'm not allowed to say too much, but it's like, it's awesome. It's awesome. And then finally, because I keep throwing Star Trek everywhere into every category, they're the guys that write Star Trek. I think I sound biased because I've interviewed them a couple of times at Comic-Con and they're both lovely. But Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing, who did this awesome Batman Beyond series at DC as well, have been writing Star Trek for a while now. I can't remember how many issues. We must be getting on towards 30 issues. And it is like the only way I can describe it is they like perfectly distill everything you love about Star Trek into a comic book. And I feel like sometimes people that work on Star Trek either focus on trying to make the artwork look like the actor who played them in the movie or the TV show. And the story kind of suffers because they're like, oh, we'll just make it look like Patrick Stewart and people will love it. Or they get really focused on telling a story that feels like it's out of an episode of the show that doesn't then work in the format of a comic book, that the story then doesn't quite work. And somehow these guys just like do everything right. Like this, they have figured out the magic formula, but they're doing this really weird storyline where basically the Star Trek multiverse has collapsed and come to an end and been completely destroyed. And the only person left at this point is basically Benjamin Sisko from Deep Space Nine, for anybody that's watched that show. And it's just a blockbuster story, but it's leading into what they're calling the Lore War. Lore is, for anybody that's watched it, is Data's brother, the evil twin of Data, the android from Star Trek: The Next Generation. He is the person who has destroyed the Star Trek multiverse, and it's leading up to this big like war situation that's going to kick off in, again, I think March. It's early this year, but that's like one of my most anticipated arcs of the year because it's just super, super cool to read. Very much on the hype train when it comes to Star Trek comics because it is so good.
There's one very last one I wanted to mention just because I didn't know it existed until I was looking for looking for comics, and then instantly the premise intrigued me. It's called Godzilla Heist. It's by IDW.
We will have it to review then.
Yeah, and the premise is really straightforward. What if someone took advantage of whenever Godzilla attacked and used it to rob a bank?
Genius.
That's cool.
That is, I think they kind of expand into like casinos and stuff as well, but that is the core premise. And I read that and I'm like, that's sold me. Yeah, that sold me.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that.
And I think it's set, like they've tried to make it's set in Japan as well, and they've tried to make the artwork very like,
ooh, nice,
that style as well, like authentic original Japanese paintings and stuff. So it all kind of feels very fitting. But that's about all I know about it. And then as soon as I googled February, I think, or late January, I want to say.
Well, watch the space.
Yeah, instantly intrigued.
You've also instantly just created yourself some work. So we put gaming on this list as well because we were just trying to kind of cover everything that we would cover on the website. But I am not the greatest gamer on this planet, so my list is very random for this. So I've got the second batch of Tomb Raider remasters, which are coming out in February on Valentine's Day. So that'll be 3, 4, and 5. After the really successful remasters of 1, 2, and 3 that came out last year. And then my list goes, I'd like to hear about a new Tomb Raider game, please. I would like to hear about the Wonder Woman game that we've seen some leaked concept art from, which looks awesome, but we know nothing about. It's had a teaser trailer. And then I would like a new Mario Kart, please, for the Switch 2 when it gets announced that we don't know if it's even called the Switch 2.
This is just a wish list at this point.
It's a wish list. I was like, this is kind of a wish list. In which case, I will also say, can I have a new Star Trek game, please? Just so I can get that into the category.
I definitely don't game as much as I used to, so I think my gaming list is kind of empty. I mean, I'm playing Sonic Generations at the moment.
Nice.
And that'll keep me busy for a little bit. What's out? There must be something.
No,
Little Nightmares 3.
We're going to lean on you a little bit. What did you have for yours?
This was the category I struggled with the most because, like, I game A bit, but this is the thing. I'm kind of a console behind, so like a lot of the stuff I won't be able to play anyway. But I found a couple. Ghost of Yotai I'm looking forward to because I've
Oh,
really loved Ghost of Tsushima.
yeah,
I've not played that yet.
Um,
I have it, but I've not
fantastic.
played it.
it's so good. You need to commit to it, but
Mhm.
it's
Why
such
I've
a
not
good
played it.
game. Two that are on here purely because I love the first few games in the series, and I just want to see more of them. Doom: The Dark Age, which is direct sequel to Doom Eternal,
Hmm.
and Borderlands 4 because
Yep.
I think Borderlands 3 is the best one in the series. I know people like 2. I don't care. I think 3 is better. Um, and the only other one I've got is a game that I didn't know was a thing until I googled it. Well, actually, it came up in a list. It's called Atom Fall, and
Don't
it's a
know it.
survival action game
I'm already
where
sold.
a nuclear disaster happened in northern England. So you're basically running around
Likely.
killing like other factions and stuff, but it's in like Yorkshire, and you're running through
Love
like
that.
you're like running through villages and stuff, and like I saw one screenshot of it, and it's just like your character. It's a first person shooter, and it's your
Yep.
character just going through like a quaint little village, about to shoot some guy in the face, and
Okay.
I'm like, I kind of love that because you don't really see many games like set
Yorkshire.
in just the UK full stop really.
Yeah.
Um, and that just intrigued me. I don't know much about it other than that. It's
I
a
think what we've
rebellion.
just learned is that we're terrible gamers.
You don't have to. I don't have to tell you that. You just have to watch like 5 minutes of me playing Call of Duty and getting wound up, and then you can see that I'm a terrible gamer.
Turns out I do have Twitch. Forgot that I had it. Okay. If you look at it, I've spent about 15 minutes on Spider-Man 2, which I still haven't finished on the PlayStation. Other than that, I've only played replays of Arkham Asylum and the original Tomb Raider remasters. I basically don't play anything new at this point.
to,
Nostalgia.
to
That's a
be
good.
honest, Arkham Asylum is a great game to
Oh,
replay just
exactly.
constantly.
It doesn't, and it seems so out of character for me to play a DC Batman game, right?
What?
That's like,
No.
I know,
What do you mean? What?
so unlike me. But actually, as I say this, Nintendo Switch 2 is currently trending on Twitter.
Hmm.
But
I did
I
hear
was going to
rumors.
use that to segue into what some of the rest of Team Geico has picked. Uh, I asked everyone to give us some shouts, and we have a few little audio messages to play out from other members of the team who are letting us know what they are excited for in 2025.
Hey, super friends, it's Michael here. So, in 2025, one of the films I am the most excited to watch is The Thunderbolts. Not only am I a really big fan of the MCU, but I'm a really big fan of the Captain America Winter Soldier movie. And I think The Thunderbolts, based on the trailer, reminds me of that movie quite a bit. The tone, the cinematography, the action, just everything about the trailer reminds me of that film. So it's really exciting to see the MCU go back to that tone and that kind of style again. It looks super promising, and the cast is stacked with some crowd pleaser actors and characters. For me specifically, cannot wait to watch Florence Pugh again. I'm a big Florence Pugh fan. I love her as Yelena. I think she's so fun to watch. So yeah, super excited to check out the Thunderbolts. In terms of comics, I'm a huge fan of the Slaughterverse comic book series by Boom Studios, which includes the Something Is Killing the Children series, as well as the House of Slaughter series. In 2024, I really thought both of these comics found their footing and did a really good job at just pushing the boat out there a bit creatively, and they took some really big swings. So I'm just super excited to see what they do next in 2025. And then in terms of video games, I'll be honest, it's just Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals has consumed my entire life. It's all I play. I don't think I've picked up a different video game since. It's every waking hour of my life is Marvel Rivals at this point. So yeah, that is everything I'm looking forward to in 2025.
Hi, it's Chris here, and I'm here to say that there's so many movies I'm excited for this year. From Avatar Fire and Ash, Mission Impossible The Final Reckoning, Sinners, F1, Fantastic Four First Steps, Thunderbolts. The list just goes on and on. The Running Man, Black Bag, there's so many. When it comes to TV shows, The Last of Us Season 2, everything Marvel Studios has coming for us, from Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man coming out this month, to Ironheart, to The Eyes of Wakanda. We've got DC Studios with Peacemaker this year. Can't wait to see where that takes us on his journey. And when it comes to video games, I'm hoping we get to hear a little bit more about Wolverine, as I'd love for that to come out towards the end of this year, but it's fingers crossed on that one. Obviously, we've got the big GTA 6 if that doesn't get delayed, but my most anticipated game is Expedition 33. I cannot wait for that game. That has Charlie Cox. It's going to be one of the best RPGs to release this year, for sure. And most importantly, although it came out last year, I'm excited to see what Marvel Rivals has to bring to us in terms of its updates. You've already got the Fantastic Four coming. I can't wait to see what more characters come, and the collaborations that they bring with, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So that's almost everything I'm excited for. If I was to continue on, it'd be a little longer, but that's all I've got for you now. Thank you.
Okay, so what I'm looking forward to for 2025 is probably firstly One Piece. It's definitely the year of the Grand Line. We've got the live action coming back from Netflix. We've got the anime coming back from its hiatus. We've got the Studio Bones remake from the very start, and the manga continuing on with probably one of its strongest arcs that we've been waiting for since 1997. I've been a fan since 2004, so this year is just going to be One Piece all around. We've also got the MCU coming back with Captain America as well as the Thunderbolts film. The MCU's kind of been pretty dry lately, so having these two come back, it's either going to be a hit or a miss for Marvel, so hopefully a win, but time will tell. We've got Dan Da Dan coming back for season 2 on the heels of season 1 from Netflix last year, so I cannot wait for that. Again, a huge manga fan, so knowing what the arcs are going to be adapting this season is going to be huge, and if the opening is just as good as season 1, we're in for a treat. We've also got My Hero Academia's spin-off, Vigilantes. The manga came out years ago, and it was phenomenal. It gave us this insight into the world of My Hero Academia outside of the schools, as well as like end-of-the-world scenarios. It's needed a adaptation since day one, and quite frankly, it's taken too long. So now that it's been announced, hopefully this will keep going for another 4 or 5 seasons, and it's going to be an absolute treat to go through. We've also got Superman and the Gunverse in general. It's a huge risk from Warner Brothers and DC, so is it a win? Is it a miss? We don't know. Superman trailer looks absolutely good. It looks overstuffed possibly, but have faith in Gunn. Video game wise, we've got Death Stranding 2. The first game was phenomenal from Hideo Kojima, so I fully expect to get lost in that. As well as the Metal Gear Solid Snake remake, which I played it on the PS2 back in the day. It's the first one I played for the Metal Gear Solid games. Absolutely loved it. So an absolute remake from the ground up, phenomenal. And finally, the Shrinking series on Apple TV from Bill Lawrence. It's a heartbreaking series. It's funny. It makes you cry. We've been confirmed for a 3rd season. Supposedly it's the final one, based on an interview with Bill Lawrence. I can't wait to see it. See how they end it, where they put these characters in the end. But yeah, 2025 is going to be a busy year. Social life will probably die down, but in terms of entertainment, I'm pretty booked up. And yeah, if you haven't seen One Piece yet, make sure you check it out, especially the remake. Once that drops, it's going to be a perfect jumping on board for new people.
And I also put a shout out on social media for some of you guys at home to tell us what you're excited about. So I'm going to read through some of your responses. So over on Twitter, we had Kieran, who said 2 of the most anticipated 2024 projects are Captain America, Brave New World, and Andor. 2025 is a good year for both Marvel and Star Wars. Political. Interesting. David Higgins over on Twitter said the new Superman. Obviously, his Twitter icon is also the Superman shield for the film. So obviously. The UK release of season 3 of From, which is a TV show I've never watched, but people tell me is great.
I've never heard of it.
Sci-fi, weird, slightly horror-esque show. It's one that I keep meaning to watch, and people keep saying to me, like, have you watched it? It's really, really good. Our good friend George from Cinema Savvy says Ben Mendelsohn's return in You Know What. Very hyped, people.
Yeah, Doctor Who, obviously.
Yeah, yeah. Paul over at DC World says absolutely looking forward to Superman, Stranger Things, and Peacemaker. And then I had somebody else who replied to me personally, Death Metal Dave, my good friend Death Metal Dave, who said, so many games and movies and shows I'm looking forward to, but the game I'm really excited for is the first Berserker Kazan. I hope I pronounced that right. And movie has to be F1 movie.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I had forgotten that existed. Then over on Twitter, we had my good friend Mark, who said Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four for movies and Ultimate Wolverine for a comic book. And Charlie says Fantastic Four and Captain America Brave New World.
Mhm.
So thank you to everyone who got involved at home and let us know your picks. If you would like, if you're watching this and you want to let us know what you are looking forward to this year, then you can find us on social media. We're on X as at Get Your Comic On 1 because for some reason they went and banned our original account last year, or you can find us on all other platforms at Get Your Comic On. And that kind of wraps things up for this episode. Thanks very much for sitting down and sharing all of this wonderful goodness for 2025. I genuinely think it's surprising how much there is for this year. Like there is so much more than I thought there was, and I keep just going, oh yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot about that. I forgot about that. So it's kind of it'll all be here before we know it. Like Captain America is really only like 5 months away right now.
Yeah.
Like suddenly we'll just be like super busy with film stuff again. I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's going to get busy quickly.
It is going to get busy very, very quickly.
Well, what about all the stuff that hasn't been announced yet, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing is how much is going to get announced this year. I mean, the anticipation of things that could get announced this year, like at San Diego this year, we could get a bunch of DC stuff maybe because Superman will be out in the cinema by then. Supergirl starts filming. As we are recording this, Supergirl starts filming in like 4 days' time, so they'll be well into production. DC will have Peacemaker about to come out, so they might feel more comfortable in announcing some other stuff that they're doing. Marvel could be announcing more cast members for Secret Wars and Doomsday and all that other stuff that they've got coming up. Star Wars is very quiet at the moment.
Yeah.
They might be very quietly planning with only Mandalorian as a film that's on its way. So there's a lot that could get announced this year, I think.
Yeah. Plus, you always have this thing with films where it's like obviously the big ones are the ones we know that are coming, but then like the smaller dramas or stuff just kind of come out of nowhere, and it's like, oh, that actually was pretty good, but then you don't know it exists until like a month before.
Yep.
Before it comes out.
Very much. I feel like horror works that way. Like I had forgotten that Megan 2.0 is out this year, which I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah.
There'll be a whole bunch of, by the time we get to the back end of the year and we're sort of at Halloween time, there'll be a whole bunch of horror movies that right now are not even on our radar that will be like, ooh.
Oh yeah.
Is there a Black Phone 2?
Yes. Also Black Phone 2. Yeah. So there'll be loads.
So many films I forgot about.
Okay. Well, maybe that's a homework. Maybe the homework is to go away. Maybe we should do this as like 2 parts of the year. What are we most excited for in like January to June, and then
we'll reconvene and then talk about the onslaught of media that's been hitting us over the last few months. Like, we forgot about it.
Exactly.
All three of us just come back with like Bedraggled, and it's just like
that's December. December when we're like, oh my god, what did we do this year? Well, thank you guys both for joining me, so that I'm not on my own. You will both be doing this lots for the coming weeks. I can say that the next episode is going to be coming out towards the end of January. It's going to be a slightly split focus episode. We're going to be half talking about Harley Quinn season 5, and hopefully Michael is going to be joining me to talk about Harley Quinn, and we're going to talk about that. And then I am trying to coax Boy Wonder out of retirement to talk about Section 31, because our next episode basically is due release on the day that the embargo lifts for the Section 31 movie. So that is the plan for the next episode. Thank you for tuning in, whether you are listening to us on your favorite audio platform or whether you're watching us on YouTube. Please make sure to like and subscribe and do all of that fun stuff. And if you want to keep up to date with what I'm writing, what James is writing, what Aaron is reviewing and loving at the moment, then please do just head over to our website, which is www.getyourcomiccon.co.uk. Aaron also has his own YouTube channel, so I'm going to let him just talk himself up about what he's up to.
No, I'm going to butcher this. Oh, God, throat's gone. I have my own YouTube channel called Aaron at the Movies. I review stuff. I mostly just talk about any film I want to. It's an excuse for that. don't really know what's coming up in the pipeline, but stay tuned. I literally I think it went out the day we're recording this, a video talking about the MCU and the current state of it.
Yep.
Which I think people would find quite interesting because it's about an angle of the MCU no one talks about, which is the variety of like genres and stuff that we get in there now.
Yeah.
No one addresses it. And yeah, I did.
It's surprising how little people talk about when there is actually, because people spend so much time ragging on it and saying that it's very flat and it's very one note, but there is actually a fair amount of stuff that's going on in there.
Yeah.
And James, who everyone knows as a super anime fan as well as a super Star Wars fan, has something really awesome going on at the moment that you have been working on today, even as just before we were recording this.
I
Would you like to tell everyone at home what you were doing right now?
I don't know if I'm allowed to.
Oh, are we not allowed to say?
I don't know. I need to I need to wait for them to let me know that I can then.
Okay, well, in which case, James is doing something top secret right now that we're not allowed to talk about, but it's very, very cool. So we will just leave it there.
And this message will self-destrate in 5 seconds.
Yeah, this message will self-destruct.
A red dot just appears on my head or something like that. It's to do with anime. It's really cool. It was a very, very good surprise. Once I get confirmation that I'm allowed to officially announce what it is, then I will absolutely plug that.
And in the meantime, I will stop telling people about it. I was definitely talking about it at whatever the last screening was that I went to, and I was like, guess what James is doing? I'm pretty sure I was telling everyone at Nosferatu. So, I will not talk about that again.
I mean, apart from that, I'll just be hopefully trying to swindle my way into the next junket.
Yep.
I mean, hopefully some more great opportunities thrown our way. I think the website has grown exponentially over the last few years. Very not surprisingly, not like in a mean way, but I think it's sometimes very
overwhelming.
Overwhelming, like some of the opportunities we get, and I definitely don't want that to stop. So
definitely not.
I felt like 2024 was my peak year. I really didn't know I could get.
I've been saying that for 11 years now.
And I don't know what 2025 is going to bring, but that could, I think my biggest, and you'll know this, Neil, the thing that I'm waiting for is to see what happens with Sonic 3 after having my review and quote up on a billboard in Leicester Square. We'll see what happens with that, but that was a very, very cool highlight to end the year on. Such a nice Christmas present to me, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, lots to look forward to, lots to hopefully get involved with.
Which just leaves me to say, actually, please do go check out everything that happened in December, because December went by so fast. You've got James's interviews for Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim, which will be coming out on digital soon. So if you've not watched that film yet and you're interested in it, go check out his review, as well as his interviews with the lead from the cast, as well as the writer of that film as well. Plus his interviews from the Sonic 3 junket, where basically he caused absolute chaos with the cast, which was really, really funny and very difficult to edit.
I did no such thing.
And then I also have to plug, coming out this week is the first issue of the new Aquaman series, which is being written by Jeremy Adams, who I interviewed back in December, and we just dropped that interview on Christmas Day. But that is a really fun chat between him about how Aquaman is a really difficult character to crack in comic books, but I really genuinely think that he's done it, and it's a really cool interview. So please, you can go check all of that out either on our YouTube channel or via the website. But that just leaves me to say stay safe, stay well, and we will see you next time. Goodbye from us. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching, Super Friends. Make sure to like and subscribe to get all the latest from our channel whenever we release new videos.